Okay, we're back, and I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. Joining us now is the Georgia House District 8 Representative Matt Gurtler, a Republican, on the line. Matt, how are you this morning? Representative Gurtler, apologize. How are you this morning?
Doing well, Brian. Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I apologize for disrespect, but I see it a lot of things sometimes, and, you know, we use first names, so my apology there.
No problem.
All right, there's a couple things, and I want to go through in the short amount of time we have, and I want to get back on this because I want to. There's a lot of things on my mind here. There's two things. The constitutional carry. Now you entered that in 2017, and just for our viewers out here, you are finishing up your first term. You've been elected to a second term, and in January you'll start your third year. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely correct.
Okay. Now, when you first went to Atlanta, your first year, you entered, you pre-filed, you did what's called pre-filed a bill concerning constitutional carry, correct?
For this year, yes, sir. And when you're a freshman, you come in my freshman year, you're not allowed to pre-file actually until after your first term.
I got you. Okay. So, but there was a bill in 2017 on constitutional carry, was there not?
That's correct. So I filed that bill when session started. It's a little different here because I'm not a freshman anymore. I was allowed to pre-file on November 15th to get my place, get my House bill number. So I got House Bill 2 for this time, and I'll have to file again actually in January, but I still got my place as House Bill 2 for constitutional carry.
Okay, so that's what I want to get through. I mean, there's two sides of this constitutional carry, whether people agree or disagree. You know, that's up to the people out there. But so you pre-filed when you went down for the special session to get your place, but you still have to file it when you go back in January, correct?
Yes, sir, and that's when I'll be working on more co-sponsors, because really this is just to get a slot in, get your House bill number, and then come January I'll be collecting those co-sponsors in the House.
Why now? And that is the question. I'm going to tell you that is the question. I read everything. Why now? And I'll tell you why I'm asking. Lawmakers say there's no need for gun carry permits. Fox 5, your name's on that one. North Georgia Republican files bill to allow permitless gun carry. Channel 11, you know, Brian Kemp supports bill that would end need for gun control carry. So you're pre-filing this, created a firestorm of media. Why now?
Right. Well, this bill's been introduced for, I want to say, about 8 years, so about 4 terms. I was just one of the representatives to carry it last term. Planned on pre-filing it anyways. It was great to have Governor-elect Kemp's support. We wanted a small number. You know, really wanted HB1 or somewhere below the 10s, but it came out, we didn't even plan this, but we got HB2, which some people are starting to say, you know, the Second Amendment, the second bill. I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay.
But
did Governor-elect Kemp? I know on the campaign trail, I followed that. I followed the questions from Georgia Gun Owners Organization. I followed that pretty close. Did Governor-elect Kemp know that when you went down for the special session that you were going to pre-file that bill? Was he aware you were going to do that?
I've been in contact with Governor-elect Kemp for months now on end. He knew that I was going to be dropping constitutional carry. I've talked to him about the support of it ever since he signed the pledge with Georgia Gun Owners. So we've been in contact with that, and then with his team. I've sent over HB2 to his team already right when I pre-filed, and just keep him involved. You know, he asked me to get involved with him whenever I had the bill ready to send it to him, and that's exactly what I've done. And I'm just thrilled to have his support. I mean, that's the first time we've ever actually had a governor get behind constitutional carry, so we're just really thrilled about that.
Well, let me ask you this on that note. When I keep saying the timing, are you can I ask you, as a Republican, are you supporting Brad Raffensperger for Secretary of State?
Yes, I am. He's actually going to be in Raven County Wednesday. You know, I think we've got to get Brad in there, and he'll be a great Secretary of State and conservative. I've served with him those 2 years in the House, and just got to see him in the special session. So Yeah, we're supporting Brad, and he'll actually be in Raven County on Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. If someone wants to come down, he's having a rally at the Rock House.
My question also is, I'm not telling you I'm against constitutional carry. I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm not telling you that in any way whatsoever. But my question still is on the timing. Do you think it is productive? Because you know the Atlanta media. Now I'm just going to tell you, Representative Gurtler, no matter which Republican I have on the phone, the day I always say that Republicans think the Atlanta media or the media likes them. So do you not think the Atlanta media has taken that opportunity with you to pre-file that? Do you think it was really good before December 4th to fire up a constitutional carry discussion within the media around Atlanta?
Well, I see your point there. We really didn't think about that. We were just trying to do our due diligence and get it pre-filed. Really didn't expect all the press to come of it. I filed the same bill 2 years ago. We didn't get that much press whatsoever. So we really didn't know that we would have that big of a deal about it, actually. But it's kind of died down. I don't think it'll affect the runoff election that much. We had about a week of a lot of press, and then sort of dying down now. But it'll continue the conversation. So I think that with the runoff election, voter turnout's a big key, and so we're just trying to get everybody to come out and vote, because voter turnout is just so bad in runoff elections. So just encouraging everybody to get out and vote. So it's a big issue to make sure he gets in there. Well,
I want to end this subject because I got one more thing in the short time that we're together. But I want to end this subject because I'm wondering with what all Georgia has gone through and the influence that the national media and outside the state money of influencing the state right now. I just wondered if Governor Kemp really needed the media hounding him right now about constitutional carry. And for all those out there that are listening, it's not that I'm opposed. It's timing. I always call it timing. The last time we were together, I moderated a debate between you and your opponent, which you won handily 60-40 basically. Congratulations on your win in your second term. But
thank you.
We were talking about at that time being the representative of no, that's my comment, the Hurricane Michael Relief Fund bill, the special session, 162-1. You again become the one. I'm asking directly, what did the 162 say yes to that you think they're wrong on, or the reason you couldn't bring yourself to vote for this hurricane relief bill?
Yeah, I kind of predicted this would happen. I sort of became the conscience of the party. Actually, I had colleagues of mine tell me that exactly after I explained to our caucus members and members on the floor after voting no. We had the sole purpose of allocating $270 million. $40 million of those dollars was going directly to interfere in the free market. It was simply not ours to give in that point. It was, quote unquote, to give economic spur. But these companies, the Georgia One Authority and REBA, which I explained also to the media as well, at the AJC and other avenues, including my Facebook page, that says, if we're going to allocate the money, we should do it the right way. But giving $40 million to, quote unquote, interfere in the free markets simply is not the proper role of government. So someone had to take a stand, a principled stand, and say, here's the conscience of the party. This is taxpayers' money. We shouldn't be. It's so easy to be compassionate with other people's money. The point was to point out, to basically say, we should always look at these bills a little closer, because when we amend this budget and these millions of dollars, they count. These are hardworking taxpayers that have this money to give to the government, or take from the government, takes from as well.
I'm looking at the clock. I'm not being rude. I know the time you said you had. So, conscience of the party. I'm just going to ask you: are you the only conscience of the party? Why couldn't? I always get confused. I'll just tell you direct, and we've talked about this, and I'll tell you anytime. 162-1. I'm not saying you're wrong. That's up to your conscience. If you're the conscience of the Republican Party in the state of Georgia, some would question, why couldn't you find 2 with that conscience, or 3?
Right.
That's my question to you. My other question is, you did vote. Did you not vote for the fuel tax exemption?
Yes, I did vote for that.
Okay, what was the difference? What was the difference in what I call? These are my words. What is the difference in corporate welfare and subsidies, or helping one industry? Can you do that real quick? Because I got two quick questions in a minute. Can you tell me why that?
Also,
go ahead.
I would also like to follow up on the last question, but exactly. So if this bill, if the jet fuel tax exemption was only for Delta, then that would have been crony capitalism. That would have been anti-Republican. That would have to vote no. As it stands, it's for the entire industry. So overall, we have less. Overall, we have less money that would come in through the revenues of the state for the entire industry in a certain commodity. So that's the reason why we can vote for that. When going back to the previous question, as Republicans, we have to look at what our party's doing. We control everything, the House, the Senate, the executive. And one of our core principles is the free market. So when we go back and allocate money that interferes directly in that, I had to vote against it. Even though I was the only one, a lot of people wanted to vote with me, but they're very afraid of public perception. And as you can imagine, by obvious reasons, why it would be really maybe harmful for someone to do that. But pointing that out, people are starting to come up more, and we've had one of the most decisive caucus meetings we ever had. I've seen in the last 2 years, that people are starting to question the leadership and question the motives of the Republican principle because we're simply not following them, and that's where we're trying to point out with those bills.
Did you when the big flap on Delta came up? I know you voted against the budget last year. Mm-hmm. Did you at that time, when Casey Cagle removed the Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle removed the benefit of the jet fuel tax from Delta and all that use it, did you support him to remove it at that point? Because I'd be asking anybody this, because I'm going to just tell you, if you're conscious of the party and you can vote to give Delta back, because I was totally opposed to that tax, I still am today. Just like sales tax exemption for Mercedes-Benz Super Bowl NFL. So if you were opposed then, were you opposed to it then?
Yeah. So this bill came up with the income tax reduction and also the sales tax exemption for all jet fuel. That's what people are going to get confused there. It's not just Delta; it's all jet fuel. So back in the day,
but you were opposed to that exemption when it first came up. When Casey Cagle got upset and it was pulled out and was taken away, and you were because Governor Deal actually did that fuel tax through an executive order, and really what we did is validate the executive order through legislation. Am I correct?
Well, there's a little bit more backstory to that. So with the jet fuel tax exemption, that before it was only for Delta, and that was before my time, before I was a representative. And they changed it because a lot of conservatives are upset with this crony capitalism, picking winners and losers in a certain industry, particularly Delta, and leaving everybody else to hang. So they changed that. And last year, I believe it was last year, the income tax reduction was also coupled with the sales tax exemption for all jet fuel. So I voted in favor of reducing the income tax and also getting the sales tax exemption for all jet fuel. And then we went to the Senate, and then Casey Cagle played politics because Delta dropped the NRA benefits program. I believe that's what it was. So we never got a chance to vote on anything again. And then when the session ended, Governor Deal signed an executive order to allow all jet fuel in Georgia to be tax exempt. And then, if you're correct, then we had to come back in the special session and prove that.
I know you got to go, but I got to get this out because you have a situation. Here's all I want to know is because two questions. I'll put this into twofold. You voted against the Hurricane Michael Relief Fund that bill. You gave your reasons why. My question to you is two-part. Number one, if that same bill was on the floor, the same exact bill that you voted against was on the floor, but there was a natural disaster in your district, District 8 that you represent, would you have still voted no last week? Could you have closed your eyes, been the conscience of the party, and said, District 8, I have to do, my conscience tells me I have to vote against this, if the same kind of devastation through some kind of natural disaster happened in your district?
Yeah, this actually was brought up from a colleague of mine and asking the same question. And, that was one of the things that was on my mind coming back in. I think that we should do the right thing regardless of the circumstance. And it's a tough decision for sure. But as elected officials, we're supposed to be having a higher moral and ethical standard. And if this would have happened, I believe that I would have made the same vote. I think it was the right thing to do because at the time, and it's still going on. That's why I oppose the budget. It's the same sort of things going on. Hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars, in fact, are being wasted every single year in the budget process. And that's why I've introduced another bill also to change the budget process, and that's another segment there. But absolutely, I think that people need to be standing up and doing the right thing more often, and especially.
So you would have voted no if the same bill was on the floor, regardless of the district in the state of Georgia. That same exact bill, your conscience, you'd have voted no.
Yes, I believe that circumstance wouldn't have changed. That it is the right thing to do, regardless. That we need to look at the budgets. We need to look at how we're spending the money, and if there's any waste in there, we need to get it out.
How do your colleagues treat you in South Georgia now, considering you voted against this? Are you getting any backlash, or are they upset? Are you hearing anything from some of your colleagues around the state?
Not really. They understand where I'm coming from. They agree with me for the most part. They understand that some of that money wasn't supposed to be in there. We were told by Governor Deal and the Speaker that this was only be allocated for hurricane relief in counties affected. Yet you find some $40 million out of the 270 that is shouldn't even be in the discussion. Also, there's many things we had to take out of there that were just completely outrageous. Because there's such backlash from it. So my colleagues know exactly where I'm coming from. They've seen me for the last 2 years. They know the way I vote, and they can predict the way I vote, because what I'm trying to do is do the right thing every time, regardless of the public perception. And I think that you know that. We've had many discussions on that.
No, you always come on. You always talk to me, and no matter what the subject matter is, you're a stand-up guy. You come on. I do know for a fact that the governor got involved. Actually, an unusual thing, the governor got involved in your election here this past primary season against another Republican. And what if people said you voted no because you got your one last chance to vote no against Nathan Deal?
I think that's outrageous.
I'm outrageous every once in a while.
We've got a serious job as representatives, and I think that being serious is reading the legislation, really getting to the principles and the values, and really what it means to be a representative and what the proper role of government is. Those are the types of things that I look at when I look at legislation, and I read the bills. So those are the things I'm trying to influence my colleagues on. And for the most part, I've seen a lot of more pushback to leadership and really getting people and divulging into the ideas that makes our party great, our country great, really.
You're the state representative for House District 8, which encompasses Union County, Towns County, Rabun County, and a part of White County. Now, I say it that way and I frame it that way, and you wanted to make sure in this special session that you got a pre-file in there so you could be SB2, and it's about constitutional carry. If I'm one of your constituents in your district, and I use the word representative, you're to represent them, is there not another bill important to your district that should have took precedence to your district? Forget some other things. Are there other bills that you want to get in that maybe in your district should have tried to get the SB2 slot instead of this?
Absolutely. I introduced 3 bills, actually, SB2, SB3, and SB4. And this affects my district specifically, and also all of Georgia. So House Bill 3 is a repeal of the $5 hotel motel tax. That's something I've been working on for 2 years. That really affects our district and our tourism up here, and especially smaller businesses, because it's a $5 flat fee per night, and that affects all businesses, especially small businesses, though. So we want to repeal that. That affects my district specifically. On another note, House Bill 4. So I dropped 3 bills at one time. No one's talking about those, actually, but I'm glad you brought that up. House Bill 4 is the departmental budget bill that I mentioned before, that would make our budget process departmental, as in there's 49 different departments in Georgia, and we'd vote on 49 separate bills that's based on its own merits, so that we could actually look at the budget and look into what the money's being spent on, instead of put it into an omnibus budget bill like Washington, D.C. does. We complain about all the time. Georgia's doing the same thing here. And so that's another bill that I put in, and it's a great bill. It's a great accountability bill, a great transparency bill for all Georgians, for all my constituents, for every constituent in Georgia, so that they know where their money is being spent. And I could vote for a lot of those bills, actually. The only pushback that I've gotten on that is that it's going to take a long time. I say to that, The only thing constitutionally we're required to do is pass a budget. So we should put more work into the budget. Because I tell you what, not enough people are reading those budgets. They're expected to vote yes. They're pressured to vote yes, especially freshmen, and they vote yes mostly all the time because they don't want to look like they don't know what they're doing, honestly.
You've been honored with several. I'm going to call them awards, accolades, as one of the top representatives and Republicans in the state by the Georgia Republic Assembly. Okay, and if you go to their Facebook page and you look at it. I mean, nine hours ago, the Georgia Republican Assembly, we are proud supporters of constitutional carry and believe the right to bear arms. If you go in, not even yesterday, your name comes up, Matt Gurtler, and it seems like that is one of their top agenda items right now, and constitutional carry and it is one of their top agenda items. You've gone much longer than you told me you had, and I want to respect you and I appreciate you. Can we schedule another time to come on and continue the conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. Just let me know anytime, Brian.
All right, I definitely will, because I want to respect. I know you got to get those. You had to plug in the diesel trucks last night up there in the woods, right?
That's exactly right. Yep, they're waiting on me right now.
Yeah, I know those trucks are running, waiting on you, and we appreciate you taking your time, and you have a nice day, sir. I'm going to get with you and try to reschedule, come back, and continue these kind of conversations.
Okay, thanks so much.
Okay, we've been speaking with State Representative, House District 8, Matt Gurtler. He's a Republican, and he is the 162 to 1. And we will break down this discussion. Now, what I want to do, Josh, is I want to come back for the 9 o'clock hour, and I want to continue with my General Motors, and then after that, my other stuff. I want to finish the show with breaking down my discussion with Representative Gurtler, and maybe we can push that together. But I want to get the interview up ASAP. I don't know if any of that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense at all, I wonder what the viewers think. I'm your host, BKP. We're going to take a brief break, and when we return, do you think the deep state is manufacturing a recession? Where's the outrage by the Democrats? I'm your host, BKP. Take us a break.